Welcome back to This Week in Politics on KSFY. It's likely you've never heard of a P525L gene mutation. Not many people have. It's very rare. But when that mutation happens, it puts a patient on a collision course with a deadly illness, one that moves horrifically fast and one where time is not a friend. And a Spencer, Iowa woman is hoping that she can find some political help from Washington in approving a treatment that may be able to save her life. Holidays are supposed to be happy times, times where you're surrounded by family and friends with a feeling of warmth and comfort. But for J.C. Hermstad, holidays are markers, a way to gauge the progression of an illness that is making her weaker by the day. It began around Thanksgiving time.
In November, I started feeling like I had, like my ribs were out of place. And it just kind of kept progressing, and then I just felt my legs were heavy. So I thought, what's going on where my legs would be heavy?
By late December, those initial symptoms were already worse.
On Christmas Day, I went to go up my grandma's steps, and I couldn't go up the steps. And I knew at that point that it was probably ALS.
And then on Valentine's Day, her suspicions were confirmed.
You never want to believe when a doctor tells you that you're being diagnosed with ALS.
ALS, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, commonly known as Lou Gehrig's disease, after the famous 1920s and 30s baseball player who developed the illness. It attacks the body's muscles. The speed with which it affects a person depends on the individual themselves. Remember, in JC's case, the time between symptoms first appearing and right now has only been 6 months. But
I can't walk anymore, and the symptoms started in November.
JC can't walk. She is beginning to have some difficulty talking. She says everything now has to be done for her. She is 25 years old, and the mind-bending change that the last 6 months has brought to her life is tough for her to comprehend.
It's very scary when I was a very active 25-year-old who was able to go ride horses and run 5 miles in the same day.
This disease is scary. The incredibly rapid way it is attacking JC's body is scary. And that fear is multiplied by the fact that this has happened to JC and her family before.
We've walked this path before. We know what this disease is, and it is the closest thing to hell on earth that a person can go to.
You see, JC is a twin. 14 years ago, her sister Alex developed ALS as an 11-year-old. Alex had a rare form of ALS with a mutated gene called P525L. And 5 years after being diagnosed, Alex died. JC has been working with medical researchers to see if there was anything they could learn as Alex's twin about Alex's condition, when she herself was then diagnosed with the same rare form of ALS.
It is raging through her body very fast, and we need a basket full of miracles.
Lori Hermstad is JC's mom, and she tells us there is a possible window of opportunity to stop the ALS from sapping JC's strength and her life, but that the window is closing.
It gives hope in a hopeless disease that we've never had hope before.
That medical research that JC has been doing has yielded something called ASO, or antisense oligonucleotide. It's a type of medicine that researchers believe could stop ALS from progressing. It's not a cure, it's more like a stop sign. But because of the rare gene mutation JC has, researchers have had to make a special batch, financed by JC's family. So far, they've spent $700,000 out of pocket to make a specific medicine for JC's specific condition.
The doctors truly believe this could be, if it works like they believe it will, it could be a medical breakthrough.
But although the treatment in question was designed specifically for JC and paid for by JC's family, it must still get Food and Drug Administration approval, which includes toxicity testing to make sure the medicine doesn't do more harm than good. Lori Hermstad says the time it will take to get approval and complete testing is time JC doesn't have.
It would be terrible if she didn't get this one chance to even see that if it will help her.
So the Hermstads are on a political full-court press, consulting with Congressman Steve King and Senator Joni Ernst, among others, to help push this process along and fast-track approval of this treatment as the clock continues to tick away for JC.
What would you want for your child? Would you want them to suffer? Or if there was something that could help them, not only one person, but eventually help thousands. Would you fight for that?
JC's family has established a GoFundMe page to try and raise funds to offset the $700,000 they've already spent out of pocket in this race against time. Lori says she is thankful to everyone who has given of themselves to try and help.
It's humiliating to ask people for money too. We just aren't that kind of people to have $700,000 laying around.
When JC's sister Alex died of this same rare ALS mutation over 8 years ago, she says she lost her best friend and her sister. And as JC sits in her Spencer home, praying for a clear path for this experimental treatment, she says Alex is with her.
I don't know how she was so strong for so long, so I just really hope she's proud of me.
Lori Hermstad prays too, a lot, hoping that this story doesn't become one of regulations getting in the way of what could be a breakthrough that would save not only JC's life, but thousands of other lives as well.
If she doesn't get the chance to see, the disease will kill her. And then we not only have lost and buried one child, we will lose both our children.
JC's family is hoping the White House might be able to clear the way and fast-track this drug approval. We have sent a copy of this story to the White House in an effort to inform them about JC's story and how time is of the essence. We will keep you posted as to JC's progress. You're watching This Week in Politics on KSFY, and we'll be right back.